What's your name and what do you do?
I'm Steve Lewis, and I'm a consultant. I spent most of my entire career in the music industry. I sold my business, my last business, in 2010. It's now 2017, and I've spent 7 years doing non-executive and consultancy work. First work, I met Richard when we were both teenagers. I was 16, he was 19. There was no Virgin Records label or story in those days, and that was my start in the music industry, meeting Richard. And I wanted a job during the summer holidays, and I answered an ad in the paper. It was one of those bizarre coincidences. One phone call changed my entire life, changed the course of my life, no doubt about it. I wish I had more confidence in my own instincts and trusted my judgment better than I did then. The best decisions I made were the ones where, in some cases, people advised me against making them. Right. For example, dropping out of university, which broke the hearts of my parents. But I have never regretted it since. You don't need to have a record deal to have a viable music career anymore. That's not something that's really been possible for quite a long time. Not in terms of really having the ability to make music, distribute music very widely, be heard very widely, and make a reasonable living doing it at the same time. The first record I was ever involved with when I was at Virgin was Tubular Bells. Now, that was enabled by technology, believe it or not. The record was made in 1972, most of 1972, released in 1973, and you had one guy, Mike Oldfield, playing all the parts, just seeing that it's possible for one person to create this very ambitious soundscape that again, was very innovative at the time. It was one piece of music over two sides of a vinyl record, 40 minutes of music that was just called Part 1 and Part 2, Tubular Bells. He was able to layer sound upon sound upon sound, and that was enabled by technology. You couldn't have done that in another era. So that, and being a huge Beatles fan and following the progress of the Beatles, the first album I ever bought was a Beatles album, and seeing how the Beatles developed from their first album to the much more innovative albums, the Rubber Soul, Revolver, climaxing with Sgt. Pepper, probably for most people's money the most innovative, the greatest album of all time, which changed societal values in certain respects, but it also captured the cultural zeitgeist as well. Yeah. But the observation of that journey with these guys that were basically a little rock and roll band, a four-piece rock and roll band that could do long sets because they knew Chuck Berry covers and Motown covers and Little Richard covers, and they could knock them out pretty well live, to this band who turned the studio into another instrument. That fascinated me. So they were doing things like cutting up tape, running them backwards, and they were experimenting with all kinds of new ideas at the time. So I've always found that mix of music and tech absolutely fascinating. And it kind of joins up my interests in music, going back to the first album I bought when I was just a schoolboy to the first record I ever worked on, which was Tubular Bells. I hope so, but I don't think it's anything to do with streaming. I think it's cultural and societal change. Yeah. I'm disappointed in this generation of artists that appear to have nothing to say about what's going on in the world at the moment. I agree. And are producing work that is coming almost off a factory line, where you have song credits with 15 people on them. Because there's one person that is good at doing one part and one person that is good at doing another part, and the process is getting fragmented. Writing a song, I don't think should require 15 people to do it. It's in the industrialisation of the process. And what's behind that? Why are people doing that? Because they don't have anything in particular they want to say. What they want is wealth and success. And fame, more importantly, actually. The Rattle, I'm really enamoured of the idea because of the core concept of bringing together music, technology and entrepreneurism. I think, or entrepreneurialism, I'm not quite sure what the right word is, but I think that's really important. When I started out in the music industry, artists had a different attitude, and again, there's a cultural difference. I saw a difference post-Thatcher in the attitude of artists. It was impolite to talk about commerce in front of the artist. When you had meetings with bands, you'd have the kind of grown-up conversations with the manager about things like advances, royalty rates, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Whilst someone else took the band around the building so that they could meet the guy that was going to do their press, or the guys that were going to design their artwork, or do the radio promotion, etc., etc. Because it was kind of unseemly to talk about that in front of the artist. The Rattle will encourage both the integration in artists' lives of tech and an entrepreneurial approach to it, so that they are not mystified by the technology itself, that they can benefit from how... I think musicians actually have always been early adopters of technology.
Yeah.
But there are so many developments happening outside of the strict musical application of technology that I think there will be really useful, I hope, meetings of minds and disciplines, and that people will come out the other end of it and they'll be much more capable in, not just in terms of their music, but also in terms of the technology that enables the music, that enables them to distribute the music after they've made it, that enables them to promote the music after they've made it. There's a lot of ways that technology can enhance a musical career, and of course the last piece of the jigsaw is a certain amount of entrepreneurial savvy, because if you've done all of that hard work, you've created great music and incorporated the best technology and distributed it using that new technology and promoted it and marketed it, etc., etc., it would be a shame if you didn't get your income from it that you deserve, and if you didn't get it through ignorance. If you can learn about that, control all of those things, I think it becomes a unique and very special place, the Rattle. Probably off you. Because it's not a good motivation. You shouldn't be doing it for that reason. And try and make a great record. That's what you should do. And if you want to be rich and famous, I'm not interested in working with you, thanks very much. If you happen to become rich and famous because you've made a great record, then you're my kind of guy. If you just want to be rich and famous so you can have your own sportswear line and your own fragrance and all that, then just
I agree, totally.